And we're
We're
live.
live. We're live.
We did it. I think we did a pretty good job that time, didn't we?
We did. Friends, we have to tell you that Carly, who is, producing the show for us, is pretty much like, I'm hopping off because Lenny and I are like mid conversation with like 4 seconds to go. So
Yes. It's how we do it. So that's why, and there's no countdown. So if we always seem like, oh, okay, we just see a little thing that says live. Okay, here we
yeah,
are.
yeah.
Anyway, happy Friday,
Happy
everybody! Happy
Friday.
Friday, Karen.
Seriously, this is a happy Friday. Yeah, I need a weekend. I don't know about you, but I need a weekend. So
I do. There's a lot to do. So
love
uh and to put that in perspective for everybody, so today it's almost 60 here in beautiful rural Kentucky, and
it.
tomorrow morning we're gonna have snow.
Oh,
So welcome to springtime in the South. Right.
that's
So,
funny. That's funny. I'll
yeah.
take 60. I think it's probably warm out there today because our snow seems to be melting today. So it's probably warm out there. I'm up in Connecticut for those of you who didn't have my placement in the world. But I want some warmth. I want some sun. I want to be able to like take long walks outside instead of just on the treadmill. I mean, I'm a little tired of that. And I need spring. The good news is that in a week I'm going to be in, Thailand where it is not this way. So
No. Plug. Why are you going to be in Thailand?
oh,
What
right.
draws you
So
there?
IIEX APAC. It's my first year going, and I know Carly's like, "What are you doing, friends?" She's like, "I'm not prepared to plug APAC, but I'll be in Bangkok for our APAC event, which is going to be incredibly exciting. I mean, our team has pulled together some amazing speakers for the event, and attendance is just growing by the minute. Really, at this point, we're right in it. Thank you, Carly, on the spot.
Got it.
Yeah, I'm quite excited to go. Plus, it will be my first time there, so it feels like a big deal to me.
And better than one night in Bangkok, right?
Yes, I will have 5 full nights in Bangkok, and then
Okay.
full disclosure, Lenny will have a surprise guest because I will be taking a few days on the beaches in Phuket. So just sorry, friends, it's happening. It's
Yeah.
non-negotiable aspect of this trip.
Sorry, where are you going? What beach?
Phuket. So just
Is
southern
that how
Thailand,
you
which is
pronounce it? Sorry,
yeah.
I'm being silly. Sorry, bad joke.
It's too
Move
soon. Too
on.
soon. We're only at 2 minutes after, Lenny.
I know.
I'm not sharp enough to come back at you yet.
I mean, looking for an excuse to break the F-bomb barrier. That could have been it, but inadvertently, never mind. Let's move on.
Yes,
All right.
yes. No, we will get there. But yeah, no, it's been a bucket list of mine to get to those beaches, and I cannot wait. So
Very good.
enough
Yes.
about that, but we'll probably talk one more time before I get over there. So
Yeah. Well, let's tell our listeners, right? So, because of that, bear in mind next week we're going to pre-record on Thursday before you leave.
right.
So, if something pops Friday morning, we'll miss it because we need
Yeah.
to do that. So, we won't actually be live next Friday. And the
Right.
week after, we do have a special guest who is going to fill in for Karen, and we'll tell you about that next week.
So excited.
All right,
So let's get into it today, shall
let's
we?
dive in. Yes.
I'm excited to bring up this first. We're going to start with, by the way, friends, we're going to start with some industry innovation. I mean, a lot of times we go right to AI. It's not that we're not covering AI. We are just starting with some industry innovation because there's a lot going on in the AI space, but also there's a few big things to talk about. And one of them I'm really excited to talk about because I've been tracking the kind of journey that Jana Wallinder, who is the Craftful CEO and founder. I've been tracking her journey because the product showed up in Product Hunt. And I'm like, oh, this is so interesting. This is kind of, an AI method of product testing in advance of product launches for a lot of, software platform products, et cetera. And so I've been tracking this journey, and I finally sort of connected with her and invited her to speak at North America, and she said yes. So she's bringing some of her innovation story to IIEX North America, which we'll talk more about later. But a year ago, she's been on this journey for a year, and they just launched their 2.0 product, which is Copilot for Product Teams. So it just went live on Product Hunt. That's the link that Carly just shared. Exactly, really, to the week, I think, 1 year since their launch. But they now have over 30,000 teams and product builders using their tool for feedback and analysis. So rapid scaling. They've been featured in a lot of press, Fast Company among them. Can't wait to hear more from her on stage. But it is AI generated surveys going out to auto analyze user feedback. So anyway, really good stuff. So excited to hear from her at North America. So glad she'll be joining the fold and sharing her innovation story, because that's exactly the kind of story we love to feature, right? I mean, that sort of was the vision for IAX when you started it years ago, right? Was let's get these res tech innovators on stage. So anyway.
Yep. Can I riff on that just for a second? Because I
Yeah,
think that
please.
it's one topic we've been talking about this week internally quite a bit, right? As a result of the latest grit data plug, it is coming very soon. Is absolutely seeing the democratization of insights, if we will, across different groups within the enterprise, and new players emerging that use a lot of the same tools that we use in but a different use case. And Craftful is an example of that. There's going to be a lot more emerging. There's going to be a lot at IAX. There's going to be more as we progress. So for our research industry folks, peeps that are listening, what we've been talking about for a very long time, it has been occurring. But again, because of generative AI, I think the ease of implementation and development, we are really seeing that accelerate. And the days of only working within the insights team, the market research team, that is quickly dwindling. And here's a great example of that.
Yeah. And there is actually, I've talked to a few different people now who will be speaking also at North America, talking about, embedding researchers onto product teams in organizations, and how these, how corporations are structuring right now to make sure that they are operating efficiently in today's era, in the era that we find ourselves in right now. So really exciting stuff. Like anyway, it's just a good time to be doing this.
It is. And I'll do one more plug on the grit. One thing we have, we're going to be diving in and showing the differences between these buyer populations. We have kind of our traditional insights buyers, and also through a partnership with our friends at Newton X, they help recruit more folks who don't look like traditional insights buyers, and we're going to show the differences side by side. So something to get excited for the next edition of Grit is we really can start quantifying what this looks like, and it is really interesting. But anyway,
such good stuff.
Well, that's probably a segue. Then we also saw the announcement this week of Qualtrics, Qualtrics Base for the new Yahoo Insights tool, Purple Lab by Yahoo.
Love the name because I'm a Purple fan.
Yeah. So basically, Purple Lab, it combines Yahoo's data capabilities and other tech with its existing consumer relationships for rapid but robust panel data. And that's what was interesting, right? So here's a tech player, Yahoo, who's actually leaning away from the AI and those pieces, and really embracing that through their audience reach, their user base, that they have access to real people to answer questions and have that drive greater insights. So really interesting to see how that plays out. It's just been soft launched with trial in Australia, so not here yet. But it's a quick, fast research approach powered by Qualtrics. Qualtrics seems to be certainly making a credible play to be the platform of choice. We always talked about who was going to be the Microsoft or the Apple or the Amazon of the research space, and it appears that Qualtrics is positioning to be one of those.
Yet again. World domination might be next. And I'm sure, their summit is coming up in a couple months, I guess, in May. And so their X4 summit, and I'm sure this will be talked about there as well. I think that the quote from Dan Richardson at Yahoo shared is, by partnering with Qualtrics, we have created peace of mind for our clients that these insights are from real humans, not AI powered bots. And by leveraging our own robust data stack, we can control the process to ensure it's fast and efficient. So yes, speed, yes, efficiency, but that reassurance that that I just think that's probably, reading between the lines, that's the need state, right? Is that there are companies like, but it's not human, and we right now are not confident in some of the insights in the data because we just need humans in the mix right now. So it's
Yep.
exciting. To me, that's an exciting launch.
I think it really is. We see Rakuten in Japan,
Yeah.
very similar. I mean, Rakuten is like Amazon meets Yahoo, right? And they've been in the research game for a long time, and we've seen the Google surveys was an example. LinkedIn does have a sample function. Lots of these platforms do have research capabilities.
Yeah.
This appears to be more going along the lines almost of Walmart, Luminate, of the and externally facing. And my bet is they are not targeting research insights organizations. They are targeting marketers, brand product folks primarily as their user base.
Right.
So yeah, another great example.
Yeah.
I guess, and speaking of Qualtrics,
Speaking of Qualtrics,
being the one ring to rule them all.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
So Recollective upgrading their qual platform, which I assume you probably know a little bit about this. I know you're close with that organization, but they launched 2 new products to kind of enhance what they have, something called Recollective Connect, but then also the Recollective's Qualtrics integration, which to me, it's like, okay, yes, Connect, I get all that, but this Qualtrics integration, no code solution allowing users to effortlessly import Qualtrics participant data into the Recollective platform to seamlessly guide participants to complete Qualtrics surveys. So that to me is a big deal. As somebody who has worked in Recollective, my experience with them is as a platform, used it and was working to figure out how to fold surveys into the platform. And usually it involved kind of a link, participants taking a link outside of the platform. And you're always worried when you do that because you might lose them in the community if you link them out. And so anyway, to me, that's a really big deal and will be able to scale the use of that platform considerably. I'm really excited for them. Anyway, you must know more.
Yeah, I do. But yes, I have. I'm an advisor to Recollective, have been for a very long time. Public knowledge, right? Full disclosure. But these concepts are things that many of the qualitative platforms envisioned for a very long time. I think 2020 accelerated adoption, usage, and now we see big platforms like Qualtrics putting the qual in their name, because there never really was a qual capability there. And it's the integration and synthesis of insights, right?
Yeah.
As platforms become, again, who's the Google of research, right?
Yeah.
The building ecosystems of partnerships that make sense off of core platforms and allowing you to seamlessly go from one mode to another. And the Recollective folks are, yes, they're super smart. But many of other players in that space are looking at similar things. Qualtrics is very smart, opening up their APIs and making it easy. So yeah, we're just seeing this development of the ecosystems of platforms, and it's been developing for a while. It will continue to develop. It's much needed. And I think it just creates lots of choice and opportunity. And ultimately, as they integrate the data for whoever it is, whatever platform you're using, that unlocks more value for brands.
Yeah. Well, which is why this next one, segue to this next.
Yep.
We're talking about reviews unveiling their AI enhancements, accelerating consumer insights gathering. Yeah. But what's important about this one that we're talking about with reviews and this new update is that and this is a quote right from this article that Carly's linking to, it's not just a cosmetic upgrade or functional overhaul, right? It's not just their user interface, which is better, right? Or provides a better experience, but it lays the foundation for ongoing enhancements that prioritize UX, moving towards the future of innovation and the future of these types of platforms, like the necessity of solid UX research to get these solid platform interfaces has never been stronger. And as we get more and more, tech platforms in the platformification that we've been talking about forever, the need's just going to get greater and greater because it won't be acceptable to not have a strong interface, right? It's just unacceptable. Like, we have no patience for that anymore. So anyway.
I have to comment on your husband's comment that Qualtrics equals Council of Elrond.
Okay, which I of course don't understand. So I look at that
and the Lord of the Rings reference. And yes, by the one ring rule them all, I do not believe that they are Sauron. I love the folks at Qualtrics. So, Tim, I like your Council of Elrond reference better than just kind of leaving the hanging of like, what are you trying to say, Lenny? Are we, are we the
I have no problem leaving him hanging because apparently, that's a husband-wife thing.
you hear those type of bad his geeky jokes
I
all
just
the time,
literally, I
don't you?
see it and I'm like, I will dismiss that like I do so many other random things that he
Yeah,
says.
it's a
Don't
Lord of
even
the
answer.
Rings reference. It's guys of our age.
Yes,
We
yes,
were just raised with that.
yes,
So
that's so funny.
anyway,
Anyway, so yeah,
uh,
so good stuff. I mean, just good stuff all around. Like
yep,
we love seeing this the work that they're doing because it all of these innovations and all of these new platforms or platform enhancements and upgrades, like they all keep pointing to the future, which is what we do, right? And that's what Lenny and
yep,
I are really passionate about. So
yep.
just good stuff. So should we talk about some of like more serious stuff right now? Like it's time to shift to
Yeah, I guess because well, let's frame it up.
with darkness, with light, there must be darkness, right? So
That's right. I mean, and we're doing all this cool new stuff, and sometimes we don't know what the hell we're doing, right?
yeah.
The law of unintended consequences.
Yeah, and this one you found this article, I think it was shared on. Is this a anyway? I don't, was it an MR web sharing? This particular article about the bill before Congress shutting
Yes.
down ACS, which is the American Community Survey. I
Yep.
I full disclosure, don't know too much about that, but apparently, this is what replaced the old decennial census long form in 2005. It's described as essential to the development of representative samples. And a New Jersey representative introduced legislation to close it down. So it's confusing to me without doing more research. And I have not had a moment to do more research into that. But this feels like not a good thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the census has always been our go-to for uh, understanding the population of the U.S. So for
Yeah.
sampling, for weighting, for understanding the makeup and change of
Yeah,
composition.
for quotas and segmentations, and you
Right,
want to be
right,
representative, all of that stuff.
right, right. So all of those things are vital and important because that they are a foundational piece that we use in uh, understanding our population.
Yeah,
And so this move certainly could be a challenge. Now, I do think one shout out to the Insight Association. They certainly continue to show leadership on these type of issues, and
yeah,
I have no doubt that they're tackling this head on, which is what they're supposed to do.
right.
Um, the there's been an argument for a while on whether there's other methods to get there versus the census or a survey.
Yeah,
So it kind of so I suspect that's what part of this is thinking that there are other data assets that could paint the same picture or other means of getting there. Um, whether that's good, bad, or indifferent, set that aside. I fundamentally we need access to these types of data. There may be other ways to get there. There may not be other
yeah,
ways to get there.
yeah,
There's, for instance, I've heard arguments of, we could use profile data of cell phone users because it's almost complete penetration of the US.
yeah.
Maybe, but there's a hell of a lot of burner phones out there, and there's a whole, uh, fraudulent accounts, et cetera, et cetera. All of my kids have cell phones, and they don't have all of their profile information is not linked
And
to
fun
those.
fact, in case you all think burner phones are not for every demographic, but my daughter went to school with somebody who had a burner phone, so her parents could not track her location. This is I'm telling you, like this was news to me, but it's don't let your biases get in the way about who might be using a burner phone. It's not just for CIA operatives, right? This is like
Right, right,
there are mainstream American teenagers using burner phones. That's a whole different.
sure,
It's a whole
yeah,
different thing. Like, this is
right,
not.
right. So it's the reliability of data.
Yeah,
That's the bottom line.
yeah,
So it'll be interesting to see how all this plays out.
yeah,
It at the largest level, I would advocate we still need these functions, these products from
yeah,
the Census Bureau until we can test and define new products
yeah,
that give us exactly the same level of reliability. I am
yeah,
skeptical that there is another product that does that.
yeah,
Plus, it opens up all types of other issues around data privacy,
yeah,
and
yeah,
these surveys are voluntary.
yeah, yeah,
Do we really want there's just lots of issues there. That's a Pandora's box
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
data ownership and privacy, et cetera, if we decide there are viable options to get to the same type of information through other sources.
Yeah.
Maybe citizens don't want that data shared.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I
it's
know,
a
it's
it's a
really
sticky wicket.
Yeah, I'm just glad that it was called to my attention, and other people in the industry should be paying attention to that as well. Let's track this. So again, thanks to MR Web for putting that in front of us because that's helpful.
Yep.
Let's just stay on the dark side a little bit more before we go back up to some of the like, let's jump down. This is for the brief, right? Let's just jump down and talk about some of these other ethical things, right? And then we'll circle back to the investments and the strategic developments and all that. So,
Okay.
the AI godfather, who I didn't know that there was a AI godfather, right?
You didn't kiss the ring?
I did not kiss that ring. Others urging for more deepfake regulation in an open letter. So AI experts, industry executives, including one of the technology trailblazers, I think it's Joshua Bengio, have signed an open letter calling for more regulation around the creation of deepfakes, citing potential risks to society. So interesting article on that. Lots of people coming together to make sure we stay ethical. And then kind of another one, which I know this is another hot topic, but tech giants coming together, including Google, Meta, OpenAI, TikTok, and X, to address AI election interference. So kind of these two mass actions, right, calling for regulation for deepfakes, election interference, and trying to stay on the ethical side of all this. I mean, no small feat.
No small feat. No, I mean, we struggle with it with marketing to begin with, the social media content, blah, blah, blah. And now we have, the possibility, as we talked about last week, Sora, right?
Yeah.
Those type of solutions that, it is a Pandora's box. And then also there's another side of that too, that if anybody was paying attention, particularly social media around AI, you probably saw some stuff this week about some challenges to ChatGPT and Google Gemini in the quality of their output. And we'll leave it at that. If you're interested, go explore. It's pretty, there's some interesting stuff. And you set aside the details of what those quality issues were. Some are pretty damn funny. The point was that it's garbage in, garbage out. These are still very experimental technologies. Law of unintended consequences. They can be used for good or ill, regardless of the intent of the developers.
And trained by users,
right,
who may not have those same good intentions.
Absolutely. And it comes down to, so I actually, about the Google Gemini, Nate Silver commented on it and said, all of these other things that go into the development, these ethical frameworks that go into the development are important. But fundamentally, it needs to be factually correct. And that's what all of this is getting to, is how do we confirm that content is factually correct?
Right.
And particularly when that content can appear, it's not something we read. It's not a link. It appears to be a video or an image or anything of that nature that anybody can do. So I think that's the core of all of this that we have to get to, is how do we ensure that first, anything that we see, anything being generated, is factually correct, is based on real information, and not, regardless of intent. If we're dealing with facts, I think that alleviates a fair amount of the intent issue. So and then we tackle the intent components of things. And unfortunately, as society right now, we seem to have a really big gap between agreeing on what is fact.
It's true. It's true. And I think that this, the second piece here about these kind of players all coming together, 20 technology companies coming together. And again, like for me, I was like, Google, Meta, OpenAI, but TikTok and X also, social media companies, like going to at least having the intention to do the right thing in this very critical year, because it is an election year, and this is our first election year with generative AI, so heavily in use, right? So we will be watching that, because this is, and probably should stay a bit unnerving for people, how this next year is going to play out. So
It should. And I would argue, what is the role of research
yeah,
as being is helping to drive foundational truth.
yeah,
And if research as a data set is part of the training components of AI
yeah, yeah,
systems,
yeah,
and that may be part of our talking point for
yeah,
the validation of research, not just last mile data, it may be last mile truth,
yeah,
and how we can ensure that we are contributing to that. So to mitigate against, the bullshit that some people will try and do for whatever reason.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, real-time sharing a link that, again, if you're in LinkedIn and you're looking at the chats, Tim Lynch, yes, definitely my husband. He was at one point in the insights industry. He knows Lenny well also. So just kind of full disclosure for the very personal interactions, but he did find an article or shared an article that he read where Air Canada was held liable for their AI chatbot generating an offer on its own. What? That's hilarious. So I haven't looked at that article, so we can't, accurately report against it. But chatbots coming up with their own, hey, I mean, not bad for the chatbot, but that feels like, yeah, that's dangerous.
yeah, yeah.
Free
One
tickets for everybody.
one last point on this, and I think it's interesting. Shout out to Steve Phillips. It's happy, right? Steve and I
Yeah.
are buddies, and we talk all the time. And and he is I think at the forefront of thinking about these type of things. We had a conversation on Monday. Point is on kind of what's the timeline look like between relying upon, let's say, synthetic sample and the results that come from that type of modeling and validation.
Yeah.
Now, Steve's point, Steve, if I get this wrong, chime in, is that we probably don't even necessarily need to validate right this minute. I would push back on that, and I did, and said, I don't know. I think there's a trust issue
Yeah.
here,
Yeah.
and so we need to continue to validate these tools. We all for incorporate them. We've been talking about this for forever now through all of our shows,
Yeah.
through 30 episodes. You need to be doing these things. You need to be using them, and we also need to be validating, because let's make sure that it's not doing wonky stuff or being misused or not thinking. Of course, why wouldn't you make an offer on its own for the AI chatbot? Oh, well, because it violates this, that, or the other.
Yeah.
We don't know until we get in here. It's a live
Right.
test.
Right. And it's making me want to share something that I used to share with my teenage children as they each kind of came of age. And I'm like, you have been spent so far your lifetime building up trust between us. It takes one moment for that trust to get knocked down.
Yep.
Like years to build it up. One bad decision and you knock that trust right down. One dangerous lie to a mother when you're a teenager just takes away all of that effort, and will take a while to build back up again. So
Absolutely. And that's at a individual level, at a brand level, at a
yep,
social level. And God knows, again, as we kind of have these almost two different diverging views on what is real, what is factual
yeah,
in America today, but even all over the world, a huge piece of that is distrust.
yeah,
And we do need to find a way to heal that back.
yeah, yeah.
And I guess on that circle back to the last little piece, and then we
Yeah,
wrap
let's circle
up.
back to the last full piece, looking at the time. For those of you who don't know, Lenny, when he does this, he's like, Karen, are we almost out of time here? So
Right.
yeah, we have a minute. But these are actually some kind of I wouldn't say they're necessarily, great things, but they are important things. So
Mhm.
OpenAI developing a web search product to challenge Google.
Yeah.
So those of us who at one point I was told when I kind of went into content marketing here at Green Book, and it was like, you think your boss is Lukash, it's really Google. Like you really do work for Google. And so now that's gonna, upend the world of search as we know it, potentially. We'll see.
Yeah, our the infamous ne'er do well Musk was also taking pot shots at
Yeah.
Google this week and saying maybe X needs to have a search.
Yep. We will see what happens.
Yeah. So, but driven by OpenAI or driven by generative AI, and that's all interesting.
Yeah.
And the funding for all of this, the next piece, which then again requires subscription, the funding frenzy at Anthropic,
Yeah.
one of the other big startups, they've hauled in 7.3 billion in a year.
In a year. Just let
in-
that number sit for a minute. 7.3 billion for that AI startup. It's like,
Yes. Well, and remember last week we talked about OpenAI wants to raise $1 trillion.
yeah.
And if anybody watched stock market this week, Nvidia,
Yeah.
exploded, the chip manufacturer. And it's because of their focus on chips for AI.
Yeah.
So follow the money, guys.
Yeah. Follow the money, people. Follow the money.
Follow the money.
On
On that note, I guess we should talk about money.
We are going to talk about North America. We're going to
Yes.
take, speed round. It's so exciting because first of all, it's less than 2 months away at this point. We just had our our moment of, oh my gosh, it's really like 50-ish days away right now. So it's a big deal. The topics are amazing because now I'm at the point where I'm seeing all the talks. Everybody's starting to send us their titles and session descriptions, right? Understanding Gen Z's perspective, navigating this AI era. You will not be disappointed with the AI content that's coming up because it is all very future forward AI stuff. It's good stuff. Tackling research fraud. Wearable tech is going to be making a showing with that kind of data. So much more cultural intelligence, neuroscience, biometrics, different models and frameworks. It is going to be an amazing agenda. I'm super excited about it. And our lineup, let me tell you, everybody knows the industry players will be there, but check out some of these brands we're going to have speaking: EJ Gallo, Microsoft, Pepsi, Coty, Comcast, Dell, Electronic Arts, Sanofi, NASCAR, Henkel, BET, Levi Strauss. It's great. Plus we have a few more that are still like confirming things internally. It's just going to be great. And then our attendees, like Aura Ring, let me tell you, like I saw that registration came in and the internal chatter was like, Aura is coming. So I'm super excited about that. I promise not to like bombard them with my like fangirl over their product. So General Mills is coming, ESPN is coming, Prime Video, HubSpot. I mean, I don't have the registration list in front of me as the way I did the agenda, but it's just going to be a great event. As it is every year, I'm really excited for it. So what else do we need to share? We need to share the code.
The code exchange, all caps, get 20% off.
20% off. Yep. You can look on the website. I guess much of our guest list is on the website, but the pro tip is that the list is on the registration page. So you have to scroll down to see it, but you can actually see some of our registrants. And then of course, while you're on that page, there's more on the speaker lineup, on the agenda, and the actual sessions themselves. And then of course, while you're there, register.
Yep. And this is likely our last year in Austin, at least for a little bit. That's not set in stone. And Austin, April's a pretty damn nice place to be. So, so come enjoy Austin. Maybe we'll be back there next year. Don't know yet, but but we're looking at other spots. So in case we're not, there's your excuse to come to Austin in April too.
Yeah. So that's our show today. Like and subscribe.
Yep. Like and hit the notification button. So the bell, if you're on YouTube.
Yeah. So for those of you who are live on LinkedIn or live on YouTube, we appreciate you in both places. And just are glad you show up week after week. We really are honored to be able to do this work with you. So
we are. That's it. So everybody have a great, wonderful weekend, and we'll talk next week.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.